your guitar is going to be the first thing. So.
Cool.
Okay, I'm rolling.
Yeah, everybody's rolling? Let's do it. Hi, welcome to the 13th floor. Today I'm with some tall folk. Greetings, folk.
Thank you.
How's it going? So we got Lara and Jack. You guys are driven up from where, or flown up? I don't know how you got here, but.
So initially from Dunedin,
Yep.
down in the deep south.
And you're on the road.
We're on the road.
What's it like out on the road these days?
There's a lot of room. People aren't on it except us.
That's a good way to put it. That's cool. Alrighty. Well, thanks for coming up and doing this, because you're about to do a gig out at Lee Sawmill after you're done here, so that'll be very exciting. But by the time people see this, that'll all be over with. But we are going to hear a few songs from your album, which is called Wiser, which we've already done a Zoom interview and talked all about that. So we should just mention that you guys are a couple musically, but not romantically or anything. In fact, Jack just been married.
I got the ring to prove it.
There you go. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we just want to make sure everything's on the up and up there.
Yeah.
And so since the record came out and you're putting together this tour, what's it been like out there with releasing a record and hitting the road?
Yeah, it's a unique time to release a record, but with that said, it's been going really well for us. Despite kind of the hardship in terms of performing live, kind of the change in terms of red light status happened at a time that was right in the middle of our tour, but being kind of a folk duo, we were able to, continue and comply with all those restrictions, and so it's actually offered the opportunity for really intimate shows.
Yes.
I think that less people are going to shows, but that means that we can really get our chops up in terms of performance, because if you can play to 5 folks and perform a good show, then that means that you know your songs really well. So so we've had definitely a mixed turnout. We started the first show down south with our full 6-piece band that we had created the record with, and that was a packed house show and a really fun time, kind of an active crowd, and then we contrast that with the shows that we've been doing as of late, which is just us two playing to kind of these small intimate rooms, so that contrast has been really heartening.
Good. Now you're going to do 3 songs for us today. So the first one is called Empire. So tell me, who's written that? Do you guys write them together, separately? Does one come from the other? How does it work?
Good question.
Yeah, so we write, I would say, the majority separately. Like Jack will send me something he's written and then I'll write a harmony to it, or then we'll come together and kind of work out which key and how to arrange it together, and vice versa. I think for all of them, actually, it's either written by myself, sent to Jack, or Jack sent to me.
And do you remember what happened with Empire?
Yeah, so that was a tune that I wrote, and I guess a shift from our pre-tall folk songwriting to our intra-tall folk songwriting is that we're beginning to write songs specifically for the project, and that does take a little bit of a shift in terms of perspective. Thinking of vocal parts that are going to be conducive to harmony, or vocal parts that, if I'm going to be the songwriter, that Lara can take lead on. So this song I wrote individually, and with the intention, of course, for it to manifest as a tall folk song. Wanted it to be a really intimate folk duo track in the spirit of a Gillian Welsh song of sorts. So, so intimate, beautiful harmonies, and then halfway through the track, spoiler alert, it takes a little bit of a shift in terms of its vibe, and with intention, we wrote this prior to the record, of course, so therefore we knew that the full band was going to be able to help kind of raise and sort of lift the dynamic of the tune. So it was written in a spirit of politically flavored sentiment in terms of myself processing the times that we're in. We're in hard times, and but not that they weren't hard prior to the pandemic either. Economic hardship has been vast, and the wealth gap is getting wider, and so in that context, writing to a bit of the politic that has led to that, and trying to name the sentiment of being able to be empowered by a mindset that says, despite the world that we're in, I'm not putting my name behind it, you know, or despite the nationality that I'm from, that doesn't mean that I sign off on everything that the state does. So trying to be empowered by that ability to name what's right and holding true to it.
Well, after that, we need to hear the song, don't we?
Yeah.
Let's give it a listen.
Times are loaded, 5-pin exploded. Put a pistol to the heart of the world, dropped a bomb in the ocean. A plague for the ages, ain't the only contagion. I got bottom line feeders siphoning off my wages. I pledged allegiance, stood tall in the bleachers. But war crimes in your lives weren't in the agreement. I won't claim your name or clean your dirty secrets. Times are loaded, 5-pin exploded. Put a pistol to the heart of the world, dropped a bomb in the ocean. All land is stolen, auctioned and sold off. Going once, twice, gone to the man to work the land with a crowbar. I'll be damned if I die in that empire, at the wheel of a war machine. Don't you claim my name on your firearms, sent to the Middle East. Watch your fortified wall on your borderline tumble in due time. Maybe found out on stolen ground, with no crown on my mind. I ain't dying in the empire. I ain't dying in the empire.
Okay, we're here with Tall Folk. We just heard Empire. We're going to hear a couple more tunes. And you mentioned, referred to your nationality when we were talking just now, which is if you're an American person.
That's right.
Are you now living in New Zealand, which is always a good move, I say.
Yeah, that's right.
You're from Wisconsin, Chief
I am
Country.
from Wisconsin, that's right.
My biggest concern and question is about your hat. Is it American hat or a Kiwi hat?
It is a Kiwi hat. I'll do a quick plug for McLeod's Brewery.
Okay.
I think up north.
Okay.
They make a great brew. So
All right.
thanks, McLeod.
How are you finding the Kiwi brews?
Pretty darn good. I'd say Kiwi Craft Brewery for sure packs a punch above its weight class. So I've enjoyed the beverages here.
Excellent. And Laura, have you spent much time in the States? Have you been there at all?
I actually haven't been there at all, but I know that Jack and his now wife Angie are moving there in about a month's time. So I thought it could be, if the world opens or is a bit of a safer place to be, and a good opportunity to see the States and hopefully do a tall folk tour or maybe some more recording. So
Right.
yeah, it's in the pipeline, hopefully.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the next song we're going to hear is called Could Be Worse. Whose is that one starting with?
So Jack wrote this one again.
Yeah.
So I'll let him talk to that one.
Once again, a song of our times.
Right.
I mean, the purpose behind it is really within the title, in which it's to name that life could be a bit worse than like the times that we find ourselves in, despite the hardship. But in that same token, kind of the chorus ends with this statement that, but life could be better, my denim could be leather, and just naming, despite this common sentiment that in order to cope with hard times, culturally it seems like it's common to name that things could be worse. There's always someone that's harder off, which is true. I think that's a healthy thing to gain perspective, but it's also doesn't justify the hardships that folks go through too. So life could be better. And I guess I'm one to believe that as a union, as a collective, we can achieve that through working with each other to try to make a better world. So that's kind of the overall sentiment, that life could be better, but hey, during pandemic times, let's focus on things could be worse as well.
Okay, could be worse.
Maybe 2 times, maybe 4, 7, 8, or even more. Could be worse, oh, could be worse. Fair chances growing thin. Even David had his sling. Could be worse, oh, could be worse. Could be worse, Lord, could be worse. Could be 5 foot and some change in dirt. Could be worse, Lord, could be worse. Life could be better and my denim could be leather. Count blessings on shit or curse. See that butcher cut that meat. At least I ate what I eat. Could be worse off, could be worse. Feeling low down and sick, but some things penicillin can't fix. Could be worse off, could be worse. My wallet's running thin, but some pockets just got lint. Could be worse off, could be worse. Could be worse, Lord, could be worse. My paycheck could be rolling in reverse. Could be worse, Lord, could be worse. Life could be better and my pillow could be feather. Could be resting instead of working. Maybe 2 times, maybe 4, 7, 8, or even more. Could be worse, oh, could be worse.
All right, we're here at the 13th floor with Tall Folk. We just heard Could Be Worse from their album Wiser. We're going to hear the title track in a minute. But so you're in the middle of touring. After you play up at Lee, what's next for you guys?
We've got a big old drive back down the country.
So you're
in a
driving?
couple of days. Yeah, because we initially were going to be playing at the Dunedin Craft Beer and Food Festival on the 4th and 5th of February. So we've timed everything to kind of get back in time, but unfortunately that was cancelled.
Of course.
Yeah, but
We'll
we
just
can't.
have to drink beer at home.
We'll just
Oh
have to
no,
drink beer
I
at
hate
home.
when that
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, but it looks like all the ferries are booked, so we've got an early morning ferry to catch.
Oh, good
so
God.
it'll be a big drive.
I'm sure it
Couple
will
of
be.
days.
Well, hopefully everything will go well. And
Thank you.
it sounds like things are kind of up in the air as far as the future of the Tall Folk, because whether you're both going to
Yeah.
be in the same place at the same time, have you considered collaborating over the internet?
Yeah. I think we plan on continuing. We've had a really good time, and it's been a really good opportunity for us to both hone into our songwriting skills.
Right. Because I've heard some amazing records that have been made by people who've never met, never been in the same room
Yeah.
together. That's right. So it's not impossible to do.
Definitely, yeah. So we do aim to continue songwriting between the two places, and then hopefully, as I said before, if the world allows, hopefully a trip over into America, or possibly Jack back here, depending on how things go and how
Sounds
it all
good.
pans out.
So the title track, Wiser.
Yeah.
Tell me about that song, if you will.
Yeah.
Laura is yours. All right.
Yeah. So that one I wrote a couple of days before we recorded the album. I had a little I'd really like to write another song sort of feeling, and I was having a chat to a friend who I went kayaking with, and he said the line, "It'll come when you're wiser," like, don't worry about it, just let it go, maybe it's time for something different. And I guess the rest of the song is written around the fact that often in the past, or still now, I sometimes look to the future and go, well, like, then it might be better, or this might be better when this happens, but actually, like, all we have is the now, and those people that are around us now, and to make the most of that time, because sometimes you don't get that back necessarily.
Gotcha. Alrighty, well, thank you guys for stopping by on the
Thank
way
you,
up to
Maddie.
Lee. It's fantastic, and hope you have a good trip back.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
We'll see what happens next, huh?
Thanks, Marty. We appreciate
Yeah.
you.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
definitely. Thanks for having us.
It'll come when you're wiser. He said. Oh, how it all must look from the chair where you sit. Take a look at the world around you, where you've been. Ahead is not always brighter. The unseen. Don't look too far forward. Miss the moment you're in. Don't look too far forward. They can't always join you in your steps. It'll come when you're wiser. He said. Your time